Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, Miles. And this is the next episode, or the first real episode in Miles's coaching series that's kindly been sponsored by ShotScope. Now, I'm going to screen record your short game again, not your actual short game, but your short game on ShotScope. And when we did the last video, we identified a few things, but the main one was your yardages. You have no idea how far it's going. I gave you 30 yards with it 60, I gave you 60 yards with it 90. So in this video, we're going to work on Miles's short game and giving him an idea or a plan of how to hit certain yardages, because I think this is an easy win for his handicap. There are aspects of him technically that we need to look at, but I think short game's an easy win for Miles, especially if he's going to clear the green by 30 yards. So if we look at, first we're going to look at proximity by club, and the thing that's bad is the shorter iron you get, the further away you are, and that's probably because you're hitting it 30 yards over the back of the green. So we're going to work on the 58, the 52 and the 46 today, and we're going to do a little bit of a wedge matrix, and we're going to, obviously, the fact that you're closer within the fairway and the rough is normal, but what we're going to do, we're going to go out on the course after we've done the wedge matrix, and we're going to put the wedge matrix into practice, and then I'm going to give you some ideas of how to get up and down from around the green, maybe lofting it over bunkers, things like that, just to get this proximity, because it will class as rough, a little bit closer, and then that should in theory be able to get your handicap down as long as your putting's okay, because your up and down percentage is 27%. It's there for, you know, it's in theory for a 18 handicapper it should be 0%, because you'd up and two putt. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that you're 27% is pretty good, but if we can get that up a little bit more, then your handicap will come down. Because if we can get you 3 more up and downs around, that's a 15 handicap.
Yeah.
You know, it's an easy win short game.
Absolutely.
So we're going to look at that. Sand save 6%. We will do a video on bunker play as well. I might get someone else to do that because I'm not great. Yeah. And shots to finish, we're looking at, you know, when you've hit your 52 and 58, it's still taking you 3 shots. So that means you're up and 2 putting. We need to get those 58s and 52s down into as close to 2 as possible. 1 would be nigh impossible. So that's what we're going to work on today. So the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to load up quad. We're going to get the Foresight software on. I'm going to give you a few ideas of what to work on with your wedges, and then get you to hit a few shots, and then we're going to put that into practice in a wedge matrix test, and give you and see where your quarter, half and full swings go, and that gives you ideas to then take out onto the course.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
One thing I noticed when you were when we gave you that test, is you're still very full shotty, and you kind of then try and decelerate a little bit to bring that yardage down.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to be a little bit less and more acceleration through.
Okay.
But what I need you to do is stop using the wrists, because you're very wristy, and because of that, you're doing this. You're trying to get more loft than you need. The reason this is a 58 is because it's already got the loft there. What you don't need to do is get to here and go, I fancy about 70 actually, so I'm going to go like that. And what that will do will just promote a lovely little thin shot, because you're going to have reached the bottom point too early here, then you're going to flick it, and all that's going to do is present the blade. So what I need you to work on is have your feet a little bit closer together instead of quite wide apart. Angle your body a little bit to the left. Doesn't have to be that far left, you can even go straight on if you prefer, there's no right or wrong. But when you get to here, I just want you to keep the wrist straight and use the body to rotate, and I want your club to finish up here as opposed to back here.
Yep.
Even on a full shot, so if we go a full shot, I want it to finish up there and let the loft use it. And what that will do will help you just control that loft more, but also control the distance, because when you're going like this, it's a full shot, and then you can't control the distance. You need to be able to control. Should be able to, when we get the 46 out, be able to do a 3/4 46 and still hit it as close to 100 yards as possible.
Yeah.
And that will then bring your sort of dispersion a lot straighter, because it's more in control. Whereas a full shot, it's just going to go higher but the same distance. You know what I mean? It's 70. That's a 60-yard shot, but out of control. And then this is a 60-yard shot, but in control. Wasn't recorded that one. But you see what I mean? So there's more control. So what we need to practice before we do the wedge matrix is just having back, body turns. The arms do nothing, they just stay in that V. So V, body, all that was a top club, was a body turn, as opposed to letting the arms do all the work. Right? So I just want you to have that feeling of keeping your arms as rigid as possible, but connected. So I don't want them out here, still want them connected to the body. And then when you get here, I want the body to do the turning,
okay,
as opposed to the arms. So there were two shots, the same, but the trajectories were like that.
Yeah.
So you're still turning. You're turning that fast. You're getting back here still. So I want it to feel like it's just
short,
a clock. So it's just backing up, so it stays there. And then when you get to there, let the body turn. Try not to swing so fast. That connection.
Sounded much better, didn't it?
And use the bounce of the club. It sounds a little bit free because everything's dead clicky. So it's kind of like it's a good shot, but it's borderline thin. Whereas if I do it, you'll hear the ground, but it won't be fat. So you need to let the bounce of the clock do the work. Don't be as scared of. If you do this correctly, you won't fat it. But possibly in the winter, it might slow it down a bit. But as long as it hits the ground. You hear that thud that mine gets? I want you to feel like you're hitting into behind the ball and let the club and the bounce do the work, as opposed to you trying to lift it up. Remember to rotate that body, and I want it to finish like that.
Yeah.
So it's like a little L. Like a little L for Lee.
Clicky.
Close. But you're still doing a bit of this as your stopping position, so you're getting to here and you're still finishing here.
Keep the hands.
Keep the hands firm, and when you turn the body, you hit the ball. So at no point should it be like that. It's just a turning motion. Better. The more, you've got to go away and practice this as well. But what you'll find is the more you get that feeling of hitting the ground at the same time as the ball, so that thud, you can then open the face up, or open your body up and keep the face the same, and play a similar shot. But that gets the loft up, so it's a nice little flopper. Instead of having what you're doing at the moment is opening the face wide open. And all that club face is doing is pointing over there. So in order to get it to go left, you've got to properly do this.
Yeah.
Right? So just open the face up, and it's a similar feeling. And that will just flop the little ball in the air. So it's the same swing every time. It's just a bit of club manipulation, or body slight pointing a different way. Yeah. And you'll know if you're flicking at it because you'll thin the tips off of it. Because you've opened the face up, you've got to now let the club bounce. And it just gives you confidence then that you can hit that 50-yard over a bunker shot to quite a close pin.
That felt effortless. There was no
backswing.
Backswing was really short.
Yeah, because the club's doing the work as opposed. Obviously, you're doing the work because you've got turn, but you're letting the club's loft and the club's bounce do all the work instead of you trying to flick at it. the end of the day, if you want more loft on a club, buy more loft on a club. Don't try and flick at it to get it up.
But those two are much more controlled.
Yeah. When you take that
For 60
onto a
yards.
course, it's much better. So what we're going to do now is, I'm not going to video it all, but we're going to go through a little wedge matrix. For people, there is a video, and I will link it up here of me doing the wedge matrix, but I'm going to do it for Miles now. Is we're going to do a couple of shots. So we're going to go a little 25% shot, then a 50% shot, and then a full shot. Not many people will hit a full shot with a 58, but it's nice to know where it goes. And all that does is it will give you a yardage. So if you've got 25 yards, you know, it's going to run out to 25 yards. You're only going to be 3 or 4 yards within it. And then from here it'll probably be 50, and then here it might be 80. And then we do it with a 52. This suddenly becomes 50, so now you've got 2 options for 50 yards.
Yeah.
As opposed to depending on wind or what's in front of you and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that wedge matrix now. Right, well, so we've done the wedge matrix, which, like I said before, if you've not seen how that is, there's a video of mine that I did for myself, and we did your 58, 52 and 46. And what this is designed to do now is give you yardages that you can, one, you need to go away and practice it. You know, you need to keep drilling that into your system. But so we look at the 58 first. 58 with a quarter pitch is 25. Half pitch is 46, and then a full pitch, it's not a full shot, it's a full pitch shot, is 70. So that gives you something to work on if you ever get those yardages. But then if we carry on going through, so 52 quarter swing is 42 yards. So that means if you've got like 45 yards, it's a quarter 52 or a half 58, depending on the situation, how quickly it's going to stop, the ground conditions. 52 half is 67. So that's the difference between a full 58 and a half 52, so you've got options. And then a full 52 was 73, and I put a star next to that because I think we could probably do better than that. But it just shows it's a new technique for you,
Yeah.
and the more you work on it, I think that's probably going to get nearer to, probably nearer to 75 to 80, I would have thought. Then 46 quarter is 45 yards, which is very similar to your 52 quarter, but it will be going there lower. So again, it's another option. 46 half is 62, which is somewhere around your 52 half, but again, it's just going to get there at a different level. So if it's a links course, you could probably pitch it shorter and roll. And then a 46 full is 86. So now from, let's say, 90 yards in, you've got 9 shots that you've got available to you depending on the yardage. And what we did notice when we did this was they were all within sort of 3 or 4 yards of target. Whereas if you were, before we were asking you to do a 50-yard shot, you'd hit it 80. You know, everything was on the yardage or thereabouts. There's no 30-yard flyer anymore, and that's what doing this wedge matrix will do. It's just down to you to be able to put that into practice on course. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go out onto one of the holes, one of the practice holes. There's no flag on it, so we're just going to put a bag down, and I'm going to put a few balls at sort of 25, 30, 50 yards out and just get Miles to practice that. And then we're going to go in and around the green. I'm just going to give Miles some little things to work on. So if he misses the green, just green side and needs to get up and down, just little techniques to work on to try and better that 3 shots that you've got currently with your shot scope data that's saying you're up and down in with 58. We need to make that closer to 2 as possible. All right, so let's head out on the course. Chilly out here, mate.
Yeah, can you arrange better weather for the next lesson, please, Lee?
Right, so come to our academy course. Now, there's no pin, so actually it's quite good. But I want you to aim for the centre of the green. All right, so the first thing we've done is we just come out here and we're 25 yards away from the front of the green. The green is about 20 yards long, so you've got 45 yards to work with. So we're looking at about 30 to 35 yards for the centre of the green, all right? So looking at your numbers that we've just done in the studio, where do you think you want to start for this shot?
This would be a quarter swing, 58 wouldn't it be?
Okay.
Yeah, 20, 25 yards.
Yeah. So the good thing is it's winter, so the ground is soaking. So it will punish you for a fat shot. So this now, the optimum is on strike, but I still want you to feel like you can take a divot.
Yep.
Not necessarily a big like stake coming out of it, but just that little clip off the top.
Yep.
I don't want you to think you've got thinness because the ground's wet. All right.
Awesome.
Right, so move that red ball out of the way. So just a little chip shot, centre of the green. All I want you to think of, I don't want you to think of the green, I don't want you to think of it's wet, and I don't think it's stopping. I want you to think of a quarter shot with a 58, not the result.
Yep.
Alright?
Cool. Won't even look.
That's probably landed about 28 yards, and that's in the centre of the green. And that's what happens when you do what, Miles?
When you flick the wrist and duff it?
Flick the wrists and doff it. Exactly that. So with that, it's because you're not turning the body, so you're just letting the arms take. The important thing with these shots is it's turning the body and letting, you want to finish like this every shot, rather than because you think it's short going, oh, I just want to get it there. So it's still, you want to finish high, but it's just a little. You see how I still finish in the same place? And if it's further back, it's just a bit further, but I'm still finishing in the same place, as opposed to flicking at it. You've got to trust the loft in your hand, is all I can say, and trust the bounce of the club to get through this squelchy part. If I keep playing shots like that, Miles, I am definitely going to turn pro. Right, so I want you to finish the same place every time, and just let the club do the work. Better. So it's just rolled on the back a little bit. But if you can get the strike better, what will happen, especially now, is like you saw mine, it just dropped and stopped. So it's just about getting a better strike with it. That's better. That's a great shot. It's just rolling out a bit, but not as much. So that's something, I don't know what your facilities are like at your club, but if you've got this ability to be able to do this, just get a bag of balls and just come out and practice that shot, because if you're 150 out and you fat it, you're probably going to be 20 to 30 yards short. If you can up and down it from here, there's a shot off your handicap straight away.
We've got a nice short game area. I'll be out there with a bag of balls.
Right, let's go back to 50 yards. So it's a similar feeling as before, just half through and make sure you finish and trust the bounce of the club. Okay, that's landed a little bit short, but you can see what I'm getting at with the just turning through. Even that wasn't, it was a decent strike, but wasn't far enough. Although to be fair to myself here, you know, that was my 50-yard shot, and we are 50 yards from the front, so I'm taking that as a moral victory. Just so you know that I'm taking that as a moral victory. So you've effectively got about 60 yards to the centre of that green, and if we look at your data, 60 yards is going to be somewhere like a 3/4 58 as an option, because you've got that option, or a half 52 or a half 46.
Let's try a half.
So I want you to do a half 52 on this occasion.
Not that one.
Not that one. What all that shows is, you know, it's wet, it can happen, but it's not destructive. You know, you're an 18 handicapper, it happens to us all. Great shot, great strike. Yeah, that's probably gone about 5 yards on the green, 55 yards. You know, it's on the green, it's safe, it's not in trouble, and it's a two-pot. It's an easy shot to have, rather than trying to hit full shots everywhere.
And it felt easy. There wasn't any, you know, it's a nice easy swing.
Yeah,
controlled.
Exactly. Right, so I mean, my trainers are getting trashed because I stupidly didn't put golf shoes on. So
anybody with a sports shop who's a subscriber and would like to donate a pair of what size?
11.
Size 11.
Nike Air Maxes.
Nike
nice?
Air Maxes.
Yeah.
Look what, you know, Lee Whittaker Golf sacrifices his shoes for his students.
Nice. I didn't even pay him to say that. Like, this is great. Right, so this is, we're going to use this because this is the one you thinned and went to right side of the green. So what are you going to use to get up and down?
I'd usually, there's a bit of a rise in front of me, and I'd use a 58 here, you know, to try and, it's wet, try and make sure that I get it up there in the middle of the green because it's going to stop.
Okay. All right, well, you do that with a 58. So I just want you to aim for the centre of the green because there is no pin. So I just want you to stop it centre of the green. Yeah. Good shot. Now, would you use 58 every time for that?
I use this too much. I know I do. You know, when it's summer, I'll sometimes get the bump and run out, but I feel comfortable with this round the green. But it means that I am sometimes playing shots I shouldn't be playing. I sort of know it, but it's the kind that feels comfortable in my hand.
Okay. Although 58 is a good shot, the problem that a lot of amateurs have with 58 around here, and I was just saying, is you can decelerate on it, and what happens is you get the old, because it's so wet, you get that just chunk and it goes nowhere. What I prefer you to do, now I'll caveat that with it's lie dependent. Obviously if it's sat down you need the loft to get it out, but if it's up like this, is use, I mean we've got your 46 pitch and wedge 9-iron, and just do a little chip and run because you've got more margin for error, and it's just a potting technique, and just allow it to just pick a spot on the green, and you'll know by playing how wet the greens are and how far you've got to throw it. So just pick a spot on the green and just do a little potting technique and let it roll up, because what that does is it takes less faults out that you're unlikely to get that decelerated doff. You're less likely to thin it, and it just takes all the danger out of playing. It just makes a very easy little putting shot and a nice little roll up. So give that a go. Right, so you're in the same place. The ball's sat up on the rough, so you can definitely play this shot. And I want you to do your putting technique. So I want you to pick a spot on the green, sort of 6 foot on, because it's going to come out lower and roll. 6 foot on the green, and just a nice little putting technique. And again, just rotate the body going through it. A little bit too hard, so let's try that again. Here's a ball I prepared earlier. Just a nice little putting technique. Just see how it just takes all the danger out of it. Yeah. You're less likely to chunk it. But even what I will,
long is still 2 putt back. You haven't made a disaster.
Exactly, but you know you're more likely to be in and around the hole. But one thing I will say is I really want it to be like a putting technique, because when you did that, you went a little bit, unless you putt like that, which I don't think you do, it is really just a putting technique. It's just back and through. It will just roll up centre of the green, as opposed to having a little bit of a jab at it, just putt. The only difference is you're just going to rotate the body a little bit, because obviously with a putt it's like that. So it's just putting with a little bit of rotation in the body.
Would you change your grip, Lee?
No, I use my putting grip. So my putting grip is that, so that's my putting grip, whereas my actual golf grip is that. So I literally put my putting grip in, and it's just a shoulder rock, except I turn once I've hit the ball, as opposed to like that, because you still need a bit of speed, and if you don't turn the body you get what you did, and that's that jab. So it's just put and let the ball go over. So the next thing and the last thing to take away that for you to practice on is, obviously now we've come long, which you know you've got the tendency to possibly do, but it's not necessarily long. This could be the side of the green, it could be before the green, but we've got a nice big bunker in the way, and this is an amateur's nightmare. It's perhaps most people's nightmare, is this bunker shot. So depending on where the pin is, there's a couple of options. So if we're going to do the pin at the back of the green, or the front of the green if we were coming down the hole, then you can do a similar technique to what we did here with a putting technique, except we're going to use a 58. So if we think of that white ball as the flag, might as well zoom in on it now. How's your zooming skills? They're good?
Epically.
Then I've got so much green to work with that in theory this bunker shouldn't exist. So again, it's just for me, it's just a putting technique with a bit more body rotation in it, and all I want to do is get it about a quarter way on the green and let it release down that hill to that ball. It's a little bit softer than I anticipated. But you can see what I'm getting at. It's still a safe shot, it's still on the green. I've got myself a par, birdie, whichever par I'm on, shot. So that's one shot I want you to practice. But the other one is if this pin is right at the front here. So let's say that blue ball, we don't have a lot of green to work with, and it's not necessarily winter, so we don't have the pleasure of the ball being able to stop. We need to be able to have like a little floppy shot, but I'm not talking Phil Mickelson, although it's possible from here. It's just opening the face up and rotating the body and letting the ball get up in the air. So hopefully if the pin's at the front, so what I do, there's like some people will open the face up. I try to keep the face, I do open it up, as in lay it flatter, but I try and open the body more and let the club aim at the target, and then all I'm going to do is a similar thing, is turn through it, but I'm going to let the loft of the club pop this ball in the air. And that's landing right on the front. But what that does is it just takes all this out of takes this problem out of play and gives you the opportunity to be able to get the ball at the front. If you play it with a more lofted down, especially in the summer, it's going to land and run away. So let's try those two shots. Right, so this first one is similar to that chip and run shot, except you've got more loft in your hand, so it's a little bit wider arch, but it's still a putting technique. There's just more speed and more body rotation in it. Land it about halfway on this green. It's a lovely shot. That's just going to run down. So yeah, stopped a little bit quick, but it is winter, but it's a safe shot. There's less chance of thinning it, there's less chance of fatting it, because you're just letting the club do the work, and it's a technique that in theory, using a putting technique, you should never really have wrist in it. Okay, we thin that one through the back. See, it is going to take some practice, and this is the whole point. If you're going to pull it off straight away, then you won't be 18. So it just takes more practice. Yeah. But these are things that if you've got a short game area, or you can get out on the course and it's quiet, practice this and you'll just see the shots fly off. Right, let's try that little floppy one.
That first one had a lovely trajectory on it. That second one just needs practice.
You know, and it's learning what the greens are doing. So open your body up, open the club up a bit. You still need some speed through it, but you've got to trust the loft, Mars. You've got to really trust the loft, but it's the same shot you've just had. All you've done is the club's pointing a different way. That's a lovely shot. Yeah. Just an easy shot, risk-free shot. As long as you trust it, you'll get underneath it and you'll hit a lovely little flopper. That's a great shot. That's on it. Lovely. What do you think?
That's just a lot easier than trying to get, you know, Phil Mickelson, flicky, very difficult for someone of my ability. That's just all the same swing. Open the face a little bit, open your body a little bit, but otherwise hitting the same simple swing, which is really, really, really helpful, because as you say, I've been in there lots of times from here. It will just, like, having a bunker in front of you makes people want to duff it. Like in your head you're like, bunker, but you put those little nice easy techniques into play, it shouldn't even be a question of a bunker being there. So many balls, you know, one thin, but apart from that, you're going to have it. They're all on there. We've got a putt for par, or a putt for birdie, and maybe a putt for par, depending on where you are. Happy days. Right, Miles, learn anything off that nice little wedge session? Yeah, that was really good. I think, you know, I came, as you know, came here thinking, right, you know, the biggest gains are going to be iron play, and they probably might be in the long run. But in terms of just quick things that we can do with, you know, a simple change of technique, there's not a lot, you know, not a lot different there, but just in terms of technique, but just so easy and repeatable. You know, there's got to be some shots in there pretty quickly, and then we'll move on to the other stuff.
And that's the point I wanted to make with this video is we looked at his shot scope data and he's short 46% of the time, which means he's going to be 50 yards and in, like quite a lot. So if we can get him to be better at them shots, we can work on the iron play and work on his approach play later on. But because I've only got him for the day today, I wanted him to go away with some very quick fixes, but stuff he can work on in order to get his handicap down. And that's something that he will practice and practice and get better on. And he'll probably end up needing less and less the better his iron gets. But even for Miles, who can hit a long ball off the drive, having that 100-yard in easy pitch shot will result in more birdies, probably more pars, but definitely less bogeys and less doubles, which is ultimately what's causing him to have an 18 handicap. Anyway, I hope you've liked that, and a big thank you again to ShotScope for sponsoring this series. Thank you to Miles for coming down. Thank you again, mate, and we'll see Miles again in 2 videos next month, where we're probably going to work on his approach play. Decrease in loft is a must, and then probably something to do with driver for him to go away with. If you are new, please do subscribe, or if you are returning and aren't yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button down below. And if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. But for the time being, we're going to go and play golf, aren't we?
It's good.
It's a bit wet out there. See you later.